What's up? Welcome to the Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. This is episode number 3, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram as well if you want to follow me. And just a disclaimer, I have no affiliation with the band. This is not an official podcast for the band or anything. I'm just a passionate fan. And if you're listening, I'm guessing you might be into Tedeschi Trucks Band as well. Anyway, if you listen to them, I hope you enjoyed the first 2 episodes of this podcast. So, for episode number 3, I have another guest. His name is Sean Roche, and he's been to over 50 live Tedeschi Trucks Band shows and has filmed countless amounts of videos of them for his YouTube channel, which is pretty easy to find by searching his name and Tedeschi Trucks. Growing up about 60 miles north of New York City in a rural town called Rock Tavern, Sean's mom was a deadhead, and that led him to the Grateful Dead, to the Beatles, to the Stones, and all sorts of music predominantly from the 60s and 70s. Eventually, though, Sean, a former church choir singer and a child tuba player himself, discovered Tedeschi Trucks Band, and the rest is history. And he's been hooked ever since. Let's just get into it. Here's Sean Roche. Well, thank you for joining me, Sean Roche. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
How you holding up in the quarantine world?
I am okay. I am home, so trying to stay healthy and try to keep everybody else healthy, and doing my end of it.
Mentally and physically healthy, or how's the mental side?
The mental side's much worse. So
it's much worse at this point.
I've been home for 3 weeks. I don't know that I've ever been home for 3 weeks. So
yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm fine. I'm keeping busy, but yeah, for now I am. But what am I going to be like in a week from now? What am I going to be like in 2 weeks? What if this goes for another month or 2 months? What is going to happen to my sanity?
Very well could happen.
What little I was going to say, what little of it is left, I
haven't been to a show in over a month. So
you have withdrawals from not going to music shows.
Correct. So.
I get withdrawals from not going to comedy shows and music shows. Really, I guess any form of artistic expression, entertainment. I need, with involving other humans.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty big sports guy too. I had tickets for the first and second round of the NCAAs this year. That was kind of a bucket list thing for me, and I lost that too.
Everything's over.
So, yeah. So they're promising me early dibs on tickets next year. We'll see what happens. So
yeah, we'll see what happens is right, because this year seems like it's canceled. But hopefully things get better. That's all we can hope for, is that this ends and life
get back to a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
So
making the best of it. That's all we can do. But why don't you tell me about your life and just a little bit of background about your life and where you grew up and your music life and your music influences and whatnot.
Well, I was born in Philly and lived in South Jersey till I was 11. And my parents got divorced when I was 11. My mother was originally from Orange County, New York, Newburgh area. And when they got divorced, she took us back to Newburgh. And I still have family in Philly. And my father moved to Boston, so I have family in Boston. And I kind of live in a little sweet spot here in the Northeast. I can be in Philly in 2.5 hours. I can be in New York City in 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I can be in Boston in 3 hours. So I keep myself occupied.
So you're in South Jersey, is that what you said?
I originally from South Jersey, but since I was 11, I've been 1 hour north of New York City.
I gotcha.
So I was right outside Philadelphia starting out, and then ended up basically grew up on a dairy farm in 1 hour north of New York City, 60 miles north of New York City.
And what was that? And what was that like?
Oh, I definitely knew I wasn't cut out to be a farmer, and the area was very rural when I was a kid. And now it's more suburban. So the farms have been pushed further north or pushed out of business. And and we're more suburban now. There's traffic lights where I never thought there'd be traffic lights, but I would never hold anything against people looking for a better life for their families. So we make do.
So you really grew up on like in a really rural environment with like a farm and a quiet, really small town.
Yep, since I was 11. A little town called Rock Tavern, which basically had a bar, a post office, and a plumbing supply store, and then later became pretty famous because that's where the Chopper Idiots are from, the American Chopper on the Discovery Channel. They were out of Rock Tavern, New York.
Gotcha.
So,
and you were there till graduation, high school or college or something? Or?
I'm still pretty much in that area.
In that area. So
I'm right down the road from where I grew up now. So
you enjoy the quiet sort of lifestyle?
Not this quiet.
Not this quiet, but you travel to shows. Yeah. That's where you get the.
Yeah. So I'm an hour from the Cap. I'm an hour and 20 minutes from the city. Capitol Theater is kind of my home away from home, and I've made friends there. I got divorced in 2011, so I ended up started going to shows there by myself. And
where was that again?
The Capitol Theater in Port Chester.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen that on the tour list.
So it's supposedly Jerry Garcia's favorite theater. At least that's the way they market it. And he had made some comments years ago. It's the Janis Joplin wrote Mercedes-Benz in a diner a couple doors down. It's got a lot of history. So, and everybody played there in the 60s and 70s. And I think the Stones played there as late as the late 80s. So
that's cool. I'm going to look up more research about this venue. I'm interested. How far did you live from that venue, like growing up, and how far are you from it now? That theater?
I'm literally 10 minutes from where I grew up, so it's pretty much the same. But I didn't get there until probably 2012. It was closed for a while, and then Peter Shapiro bought it and redid it, dumped a lot of money into it. So if you know who Peter Shapiro is.
A promoter or something?
Yeah, he's the guy basically that promoted the Grateful Dead shows in Chicago a couple years back.
Gotcha.
So, and then he's really tight with Phil. So Phil has had that as his East Coast hideaway for the last, 6-7 years. Yeah. So First played there a lot. It was. I've seen some great stuff there. So, but I grew up a Deadhead. Probably Beatles first, and then the Grateful Dead after that. I was a huge Beatles fan.
When did that start? Just always
high school age, and basically watched my mother was into like American Pie and Don McLean, and your typical AM Gold and that, and I dove a lot deeper on like the Beatles, and from there kind of got into the Stones a little bit and more into the Who, and never really was a big Zeppelin guy for some reason. I don't know why. Just never really grabbed me.
I was going to ask a question about Zeppelin. Do you think they steal music?
No, I don't think so. I just don't. It just never really grabbed me. Not the way that the Beatles or the Dead grabbed me.
I've listened to those, I've gone to some of those YouTube videos where it's it'll play the original song and then it'll play Zeppelin, and I'm like, that does kind of sound similar to Stairway and Whole Lot of Love. They kind of repackage some things, I guess. But that's what everyone does.
We're 100 years into recorded music. There's a lot of things that have been recorded, and you could probably find a lot of things that sound like a lot of other things at this point.
Right.
And going back to George Harrison and getting sued for, I guess it was My Sweet Lord he got sued for, I guess.
Oh, wow. What song did he get? What song was that?
And it was like the Shondell, or well, not the Shondells. It was a girl band. He's So Fine, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
I'll go back and play those.
Yeah, play those and then look up the song, This Song, which is basically his big FU to the whole court system and the record industry. So
That was a George Harrison song?
yes, correct.
I thought he was like a Zen guy. He's writing these like angry songs. That's like some John. What's that?
So up until you get sued or have to pay taxes, then
yeah, I understand that. Fucking
so
you don't mess with a man's wallet. You don't mess with a woman's pocketbook. Fucking.
Yep, this is true. So, and I do love that Derek is so into George.
Yeah.
So I love it when they break out a wah wah or something like that. So
yeah, I'm into all the music that you're describing, the Beatles and Stones, and really since high school, college. It's kind of like when I started getting into that stuff.
Well, I had a stepmother. My stepmother was big into the Dead. So, and it was kind of funny because my father always wanted to take the whole family to see the Dead, and he wasn't a Deadhead. He just wanted to take us for the experience. And
why? Why? But he liked the music. He wasn't a hardcore fan, but he liked it.
He liked it, and the Dead. You take anybody to a Dead show, even if they hate the music, the day would be fun because the lot is a blast, and
right.
I'm not even a marijuana. I'm not into the weed or the acid or anything like that. No, I'm not. I'm into the music. I'm hardcore into the music, and even just the people watch at the Dead and walk down through Shakedown Street and all that. It was always well worth it was always an entertaining day.
Yeah, that's like how I felt when I went to, I guess, the Fish show. I went to one Fish show.
Same here.
About a decade and a half ago or so, and man, I think it was almost a couple of decades ago at this point. But it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I did mine at Baker's Dozen, and I would do it again. I wouldn't pay big money for it, but if somebody had a ticket and was selling it at face value, I would go. I had a good time.
What's Baker's Dozen?
They did 13 shows at MSG.
Oh, yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
So, which is, I think, the record for consecutive in a row shows at MSG. So, but so anyway, my stepmother was into the Dead, and she never wanted to take us because we would have ruined her good time. So I finally took myself in 1992, and that was kind of the start of going to shows I couldn't afford and things like that. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So I was 2 years out of high school, and I've been poor since. So
nice. What about playing music? Were you ever a musician, or did you play any instruments? You sing or anything like that? Were you musically inclined growing up?
I am musically inclined slightly. I sing a little bit. I sang in church years ago, and I did play a tuba, so I have a little bit of theory. So I played tuba all through 5th, 6th, junior high, and then a little bit in high school. So yeah, I did. I love horns, so which was one of the big attractions I had with TTB. So nice. I always had horns. So always like Chicago and things like that too. Anything that was horn heavy because of playing horns for so long.
See, I love to hear. I don't know. I just enjoy hearing little stories and tidbits about people, because I wouldn't probably learn that about you. Like, I guess I could if for like messaging or like something you post, but like that's something that's more likely to come out in a conversation, I think.
Yes, it's not something I usually advertise. So you got your first kernel there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: where is the tuba right now in your house?
Actually, the tuba belonged to the school, so the tuba is gone. But it's funny because I am now thinking, sitting home for the last 3 weeks, that I should look up and buy an acoustic guitar off of Amazon, find $100 or $200 guitar, and just mess around with it for however long this goes.
Yeah. Have you any experience playing guitar?
No. So I know a little bit of music theory. It's been a long time, but I think I know enough about timing and things like that, where if I could, and I do have a little bit of an ear left.
Yeah, you can already sing.
And I can sing a little bit. So,
have you ever posted anything on social media of you singing or playing music?
Well, if you listen, my YouTube videos, I will not sing. If you check out my Instagram, you will hear me sing along with the band. So,
oh, I see it at shows.
Yes, at shows, I'll sing over that. And if you dig deep enough, there's something somewhere of me singing.
That's cool.
So, I have been known to sing. So.
Hell yeah. I play guitar too, and I'm learning to sing. I'm trying to teach myself. And I took like one lesson with a vocal coach, and I thought it was helpful. The vowels, you gotta learn the vowels and whatnot.
That's warming ups. It's kind of like stretching if you're an athlete.
Yeah. I've never stretched before.
It's a little bit. Every little bit helps. So.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
So yeah. No, I was never really good at music, but I was passable at music. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think you're being humble because I just think you are. But the problem is the tuba is not an accompanying instrument. Is that the issue? Is that why you don't have one in your home right now?
No, I was never really that good at it.
But you played it for so many years. You played it for like a few years at least.
Yeah. Well, in high school, it was more under duress. I ended up going away to boarding school in high school, and I had a buddy who lived in the town, and this is in Kansas. I was in boarding school Catholic boarding school in Kansas, so you're getting more tidbits here. So I had a buddy, and his father was wealthy, and his father. The school didn't really have a music program, so his father always wanted his kids to play in a band. So he basically started a band. And in conversations, I had told my friend that I had played the tuba in junior high. So then my buddy comes to school 2 weeks later, and he says, "Hey, my dad wants you to come over to the house after school today." I said, "Okay." So I walk over to the house, and he says, "I got something for you." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "That box over there." And I go over and I look over the box. And I take the lid off the box, and there was a tuba in the box. And I went, "Are you kidding me?" So I was in the band. So I probably would have quit in high school if not for my friend's dad. And we did parish weddings and crap like that, and we played, like Sweet Caroline and all that fun stuff. So but it was kind of cool. So there was a guy in the band, and it was more of a parish band than a school band. And there was a guy in the band that played with Buddy Holly.
Wow.
He was originally from Texas and had played with Buddy Holly a couple of times. It was kind of neat. So,
damn.
So he would sit in the corner on his amp, and he would basically chew the filter of a cigarette and be strumming away. And those guys were good. My friend's dad, and Paul Bryan was the name of the guy that played guitar. He was really good, and the rest of us were looking to get out of other scheduled activities.
Right.
Let's put it that way. So,
is there any recordings of that of this?
No, I don't have. They're
out there somewhere.
My buddy's family probably has videotapes, but there is a picture of me on Facebook playing the tuba.
Yeah.
If you dig enough.
I'm gonna dig, by the way. So
you go right ahead. So, but it was a Christmas show, and I'm wearing a Santa hat. So, and that was a 4-piece brass thing that we did. We had a guy playing trumpet, another guy on trombone, and 2 trumpets and a trombone, and me on the tuba. So it was kind of neat. So
when is Tedeschi Trucks Band gonna add a tuba?
The band had a tuba for years, so Alan Toussaint wrote all those arrangements for them. That was another one of my big loves, and being here in the Hudson Valley.
The band.
Yes, in the '90s, I saw the band in every shithole bar in the Hudson Valley. It was actually really cool. They were kind of broke, and they were just looking to fill dates, and I saw them in really small places, and Levon, Rick, and Garth at that point were the three that were left, and they would have horns at times, and other times they wouldn't. But when they did have horns, they always had a tuba.
Yeah.
So
how do you describe the sound of a tuba?
It's bass.
It's lower. It's a lower pitched horn.
And I've always, in the rock bands, I'm usually drawn to the bass players. You know, I love O'Teal. I love Phil Lesh. I love Tim when he was with the band. I'm really digging Brendan.
Yeah, sure.
Bob McCartney. It seems like I'm drawn to that because of my background on the low end. So,
is that your singing voice as well? Do you sing in the lower register typically?
Or baritone or bass on my voice. So
yeah, I could hear it.
So, yep. So
no doubt. And what about after high school? Kind of where were you? I guess either in your life or musically, like what was up then?
Yeah, no, I dove into the Dead, and I saw the Dead with Jerry Garcia 3 times, and then I was probably a little more financially stable after that, and I saw a lot more of those guys with their side projects, and then once they got back together in '98 or '99, whatever it was. So every time Bob Weir would come within 3 hours, I'd go see him. And that I just kind of went along like that. I saw McCartney a couple of times, and then the band. I saw the band quite a bit in the mid '90s, and then the Tedeschi Trucks was definitely a whole different thing for me. I was never into the brothers. I actually found Tedeschi Trucks and Government Mule before I even really dove into the Allman Brothers.
I'm kind of the same way. I kind of get Tedeschi Trucks first, and then I know of two of the Allman Brothers and know a lot of their hits and songs.
Sure. Well, the radio hits,
but But you don't go become a hardcore nutcase about it until later.
Yes, no, now I am.
Right.
I never heard "Not My Cross to Bear" until I had Tedeschi Trucks and Government Mule, and then now next thing I know, I'm at the Allmans at the Beacon, and I'm standing there with my jaw open, seeing Derek and Warren play together, going, "Man, I blew this. I really missed. I missed a lot of good stuff."
Yeah, I would like to go back in time, in a time machine, and go to shows.
I'm 48. I always tell people I was born at least 20 years too late. So,
yeah. Were you ever into other kinds of music besides, classic rock and oldies and this, 60s, 70s style kind of music or era music?
We're New York Irish. My grandmother was from Ireland. So we had a lot of that influence.
Traditional Irish music.
Yeah, well, I don't even. Traditional came later.
Bar songs, like bar folk, those kind of songs.
People in the Irish community would probably call it rebel songs, and you had what a lot of people in Ireland would call plastic patty stuff. When I was a kid, the family cruiser in 1979 was a blue Chevy van, and my father got a tape deck and installed it, and we had 2 tapes. We had Kenny Rogers, The Coward of the County, and Patty Noonan's Irish Party was the 2 tapes we had, and we literally played them continuously for 5 years. So
country. So you had one country tape and one.
Well, I don't know that I'd even call Kenny Rogers. I'd even put more in a pop category than a country category, but especially at that point.
Yeah, he was already country at that point, or already more pop.
I really think
pop country was a thing. When did pop country even become a thing? I don't know.
That's the way it is right now. I think today pop music is country music. So, and there was a space there in the 70s. It was the same way. You could hear Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers on pop. So
that's true.
So, but the Irish music, and I kind of rebelled against that. And then I got back into it later. And I had a pretty heavy Irish time period. And I actually even ended up doing an Irish radio show, which is even funnier yet. So, and I did conduct interviews with some well-known bands and some folk singers, and it was kind of neat. So
why aren't you doing my job?
I don't know. So,
You might still.
yeah. Well, the funny thing with them is they wanted me to sell advertising for my own show, and I was working a real job, and I didn't mind going in on Sunday and doing a radio show, but I didn't want to spend time during the week on it. So
yeah, that's not fun. That's the annoying part. The fucking sales and whatnot.
yep. So
Those types of things. The creative stuff is the fun.
yes,
Parts.
and then I got to interview like the guy that wrote all the music for Lord of the Dance, and I got to go to some pretty cool parties in New York City where people were releasing CDs and things like that. It was a lot of, and I probably did that for like 4 years. It was a lot of fun for a while, and it was kind of funny because I just met people, going out to bars and shows, and so I became friends with this one guy, and I met this other guy through him. And the one guy was doing the radio show. He moved back to Ireland. He's doing national radio shows in Ireland now.
Wow.
And then the other guy did his show for a while, and then he decided he was going to move back to New York City. So he says, "Oh, you're going to do the show?" And I said, "Okay." So I started going in. I went in with him for like 3 weeks, and then on the 4th week, I was by myself. And then by the 6th week, the owner of the radio station came in, and he looked at me and he goes, "Who are you?" I said, "I do the Irish show. I'm Sean." And he's like, "Well, that's news to me." And I was like, "It's good to see you're a listener."
You can only imagine. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So why don't we start to get into Tedeschi Trucks, and when did you discover them?
Well, that's a kind of a cool story. My boss gave me a set of Bose computer speakers because he got new ones. So I brought them home and I plugged them into my desktop computer.
He gave you his old. He gave you his old ones.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was a subwoofer and satellites for a desktop. So I plugged them in, and then I'm sitting there and I said to myself, "What can I watch to see how these work?" So I pulled up Netflix on my computer, and I found the Eric Clapton Crossroads concert, and I started playing that, and it was cool. And then Tedeschi Trucks came up, and they played Midnight in Harlem, and it was Kofi's organ that initially grabbed me. It wasn't Derek's guitar playing. That organ riff and the groove on that song, it made me sit up. It made me pay attention. I went, "Holy shit, this is really cool." And so now I started doing a little bit of plugging around on the internet and found out that this was, I guess, 2014. It was summertime, and I looked up the band, and they were playing the Beacon Theater on the Beacon Run, and I bought one show the first year. The second year I went, I bought 2 shows. The third year, I bought 5 of 6. The fourth year, I bought 6 of 6. And last year, I did the 4 of 6 because sometimes it's hard to be an adult.
You're not really a fan of the band, I guess. What can I tell you?
No.
I thought you were a fan, but now you're down. So your commitment is coming into question. Well, no, that's cool. That's quite a story. The Midnight in Harlem on the Crossroads.
That was it because, like I said, the Allmans just weren't on my radar. That I think probably 90% of the people that are fans of the band probably came to them from the Allmans, and I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, either am I. I think you're starting to see less of that because you're going to see I'm holding up my hands as if it's a scale balancing, but I think you're going to see it, as the crowds maybe will get younger, and as they get exposed to more and more, different people and different audiences, there'll be less of the Allman crowd, and it'll be more of just organic them.
Well, I know, the reason we're talking is because of my YouTube channel. So, and I started taking videos at further shows, and I would put them up, and it was no big deal. And then I went out to Chicago for the Dead, and I had lousy obstructed view seats, but I was the one guy there that probably got his tickets off Ticketmaster. I spent $200 for all 3 shows, and the guys sitting next to me had StubHub seats that they paid $1,200 for. But so I took video from obstructed view on the side because I always loved the way the crowd danced at Dead shows, and I took like a 7-minute clip of a song just to kind of get the feel for the crowd. And I said, "Oh, what the heck? I'll throw it on my YouTube channel." And I started uploading it before I went to bed. And when I woke up in the morning, it had like 12,000 hits on it. And I went, holy smokes. So basically what I was trying to do with my videos from
when was that you posted this Grateful Dead video?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the in 2015 for their 50th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Or was it 14 or 15? I don't remember. But anyway, I posted that, and so basically what I've been trying to do is trying to turn deadheads onto Tedeschi Trucks, because the base of my subscribers are all, I think it's probably half and half now, Tedeschi Trucks fans and deadheads, but at the time it was all deadheads. So
interesting. So you're kind of like almost like a missionary trying to get more fans for Tedeschi Trucks.
I'd like to turn people onto them. I think the music business has changed so much, since the Napster blew up the record industry. I think marketing is challenging because the record companies aren't spending any money to promote you.
Right.
It pretty much falls on the bands now. So if I could help them out, I'd like to help them out.
Yeah. Maybe this will help too. I don't know. You never know.
And if you enjoy it, that's cool. And
that's the primary thing for me. I enjoy it.
Yeah, hopefully you bring enjoyment to other people and
to fans. For sure.
Hopefully, maybe somebody will be interested in hearing this. So
I hope so. I hope somebody.
Well, I would hope that you would get some attention from the band and be able to get folks on from the band. So
down the line, we'll see. Baby steps.
I don't know that I'd listen to me, but I would listen to that. So
yeah, I'm gonna see if my mom will listen first. I'm going to see if I get my mom, and then if her, maybe my dad will listen too. But baby steps, one thing at a time.
Well, when you put this out, I'm pretty sure my mom will listen to this too.
Sweet. So we got at least 3 people that are going to be interested. I appreciate all 3 of them.
Yep.
That's cool. So you just started going to more and more TTB shows in 2014, 15, 16. And just diving into the music and loving it. And you were a horn guy, so that drew you in. And Kofi's organ, that drew you in too. What other thoughts did you kind of have about the band? Like, I started to become more of a hardcore fan.
I think Susan's got a great voice, and I think that Mike Matson has a great voice. And I think, now that I'm fully engrossed, I think that Derek is the best guitar player on the planet, as far as I'm concerned.
You're not going to get an argument from me.
Well, we could debate it, but he's definitely in the conversation. So let's put it that way. So I
don't want to debate. I don't want it. Yeah. I'm not interested in it.
I'm saying other people could debate it.
Yeah, of course. These are stupid, silly conversations anyway. The best and all these things. These are just silly, but
he is my favorite. I will say that. So. Yeah. I don't, style wise, there's no comparison to him and Garcia, but I think the greatest thing on the jam band scene is taking the solo and being able to build the solo to that crescendo that takes your breath away. And that way he is like Garcia.
Yeah.
So, and that's, John Mayer's learned a little bit about that. Being with the band, but he's not on Derek's level.
Yeah,
so.
And very few, probably none, are in the way to to tell a story with a guitar solo.
Yep.
And he could do that without the horns and the percussion revving up behind him. He still can have that build up just by having playing acoustic, even anything.
Yeah, well, much like being jealous of not seeing the Allmans or not seeing the Dead at the height, And well, I did see the Allmans twice, but not seeing them for
in their prime.
you know, when they were in the prime, when Greg was in better shape. You know, I love that Derek Warren lineup. I did see Dickie, you know, on his own later on. You know, I'm even a little bummed I never saw the Derek Trucks Band, because I love those albums. You know, and basically when I get in the car and I'm gonna go on a road trip, I put on my Tedeschi Trucks playlist on my phone, and it's a mix of Susan solo, Derek Trucks Band, and the Tedeschi Trucks Band. I put all three acts in the same category, and I'm sure a lot of other people do too.
Right.
So.
No, as do I. I've done, you know, the deep dives, pretty deep dives into, you know, Derek solo, you know, Derek Trucks Band, Susan, and the Allman Brothers eras with Derek.
I gotta say, I love Mike Matson, and I love the fact that he's you know, written a lot of the songs, and I love that he basically, you know, went from the front of the stage to the back of the stage and hung in there instead of just saying, "Oh, your wife's going out front, I quit," because it would have been real easy to do, and people wouldn't have blamed him for doing it. And to take the seat to Susan, that band needs him.
Yeah.
So you know, he definitely fills a role, and I love when Mike comes to the front, you know, and I love when Mark comes to the front. So, and I think it's awesome that they do that, you know, so that Mike gets 2 or 3 songs in the course of a show, and Mark will get a song in the course of the show. So,
yeah, and people could go to the bathroom.
Nobody goes to the bathroom at a TTB show.
No, I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about the band. They
yeah.
And have a cigarette or something else, and
yeah,
you know, go to the you know, but you have a rotation. It's almost like a volleyball team. Yeah. No, it's always fun. It's always fun to see the different lineups within the lineups, the no horns, the without Derek, the one drummer, to see them do some of these things up there.
Yep. And that's the nice thing about a 12-piece. So, you know, there's a lot you could do with it.
For sure.
So I was always blown away by Kofi's flute. I really think it's kind of a nice tribute now that Kebby's brought the flute out, and the flute was missing there for a while, and now it's back a little bit. So that's kind of cool too. So, but you know, you're watching this unbelievable guitar solo, and then all of a sudden, guy picks up a flute, and you kind of go, "Wow!"
Yeah. So, no, he was awesome, Kofi. Everything, basically.
Yeah. So,
I wonder if Kebby, like, how did the flute thing with him come about? Did he like decide, I'm going to play flute, practice it for a little while, got really damn good at it, and then started playing it at shows? Or was it like he always played flute and he just like, oh, I'm going to brush up on, like, I wonder where he was at flute wise, you know, within the last year. I'm curious about that.
I'm sure the fingerings I don't know this for sure. I'm sure the fingerings are very similar, but I think it's a totally different position with your mouth. It's
still a woodwind. Yeah,
it's definitely a testament to him, you know, that he could do that. So that was cool.
Yeah. However, he got to the point where he's able to play flute at shows, you know, at the level he's doing it is impressive.
Well, when you have him on, you ask him that.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. That in mind for sure. I'm more likely to just go. Well, I don't know, because who knows when the hell there's going to be shows again, and who knows when they're going to have a West Coast leg of a tour or something like that. So it may be more likely that I'll be able to get Kebby on the Skype before I'm able to confront him at the bus after a show about this.
There you go.
Oh no! Oh boy!
So.
And what about some of the more recent experiences and memories with going to shows and the band? And
you know, I don't think that, you know, Derek had so many years with Kofi, and he's hard to replace. I think that the guy they got, Gabe Dixon, I've been really, really impressed with him. And I think they replaced, you know, a linchpin in that band with a pretty good guy, and I think it definitely hurt for them to lose Tim. And I think that young Brendan there is more than held his own. I've been really impressed with the band.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did my last show was in December in Boston, I the between the Beacon and Boston, it's really seemed like they were hitting their stride again. So
Yeah, it's for me. I don't think it's hard to get me to ever say a bad thing about a negative thing about the band ever or anyone in it. And I think everyone's pretty great and super talented.
it seems like
Just to be in the band, you have to be at a certain level.
Sure.
I know this.
No, but it just seems like every move they make, it seems to work out, which is great for me as a fan. So, it's like I'm not sitting in the crowd going, I'm going to go to less shows next time around because
no doubt, yeah.
Because the new guy isn't that good.
Right. No, it's funny because like I listen to a lot of live shows, and I'm like every show. Josh Brick was saying also that every show thinks is the best one. That was his favorite, is the most recent one, and it's something to hear the band. It's really something to hear the band get better and hear Derek get better. It's like, because you don't, like, how is that possible? But I hear new things. I hear things I haven't heard.
Well, I think that they've adopted that jam band model, and they're not playing it the same way every time. The solo's never the same. I love the band Rush, and I saw Rush on Test for Echo. I saw the first show of the tour, and I saw the last show of the tour, and everything was exactly the same, right down to what they said in between the songs. And I loved seeing those shows. I loved every second of the show, but I really only needed to see the show once.
Right.
Where when TTB is doing 6 days at the Beacon, like this last year, I only did 4 because I just work was a little hectic.
Yeah, and, so you don't have to justify it to me, man.
No, I'm just telling you why. It's heartbreaking to have them 60 miles from home and not be able to go.
To go to every show you can, to go to every show they're doing.
So, and of course, the midweek shows ended up being where all the sit-ins were, and Nils Klein, I missed that. And then you kick yourself in the ass and you just go, should have made it work. But, I go to too many shows to take days off to go, days off to recover from a concert. So, so I didn't go, but, I want to go to all of them. So, and I don't care if I'm sitting down front or if I'm sitting at the back of the building. I want to be there. So, and then the other thing I love about this band is that they always seem to have tried to take care of their fans. I've had the best concert tickets in my life because of originally those pre-sales. I've never been front row for anything, and I've been front row for them 3 times. And if the shows this summer happened, I was supposed to be front row 2 more times this summer.
Wait, how are you front row? How do you make that happen?
They in 2014, when I did my first show, they had the pre-sales, and they weren't through Ticketmaster. They were through an outside source, and they were just for fans, and it was free. There wasn't a membership fee or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And they did that for a long time, and I got great seats. And then once the band got bigger and more popular, the seats got worse. And then I guess people were complaining, so they came up with the Swamp Family thing. And that's a for pay thing. And
I'm part of the fan club. Yeah, I'm part of that.
Yes, and I gladly pay that. I have no issue paying that, and that was kind of a way to weed out scalpers, I think. But this past year, the Beacon shows they just announced, and they went on sale, and I did great because I did have a friend text me that Tedeschi Trucks Beacon just went on sale. So then you drop everything and you're trying to get the best seats you can. And then just the Swamp Family was really good when the Wheels of Soul went on tour. So a friend of mine bought my Saratoga ticket, and she got front row. And then I bought, at the same time I was buying New Haven, and I got front row on that day too, front row dead center.
Damn.
So hopefully those shows will happen. So, and I also was planning on going to Red Rocks. I got Red Rocks tickets, and now I hear that Red Rocks is canceled through July. So TTB was supposed to be July 31st and August 1st at Red Rocks.
Count it.
Well, I'm hoping.
Oh no, it's right on the borderline. They're gonna cancel just the 7:31 show and keep the 8:1 show.
Yeah, so
that's what's the logic in that? That's like some real that's some government logic there at 11:59 p.m. on July 31st. Danger. Yeah. August 1st, 12:01. Everybody's free.
Good. Yep, it's all good. So we'll see what happens. So hopefully it'll happen. So I got friends out there, so maybe I'll go even if the shows don't happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Should you go do camping or something like that?
No. I have friends out there. I'll stay with them. So
yeah, just to visit.
I've been out there a couple times. I did a Warren Garcia show out there with the symphony, and then I did further on 3 different runs. So, and that was another learning experience. First time I went out there, I just did the one show. And the second night, I'm also trying to go to all the major league ballparks. So the second night, I'm sitting at the baseball game going, boy, you blew this one. This sucks. You should be back at Red Rocks watching further. Yeah. So, yep.
If you had the means and time and all the shows were happening, would you follow the band on a tour? Would you follow the band all the time for a period of time? Would you because you film? Do you film and you do audio for every show you go to?
I don't do any audio. I don't do any audio. I leave that to my friend Ed Gendelman. So out of Philly, he'll come up and he'll tape he'll do all the audio. He has the equipment. I don't.
And he syncs it to the video that you.
Well, I post on my camera, and every once in a while he'll say, "Hey, do you mind if I grab your video and put my audio on it?" And I have no issue with that because personally, I don't. My channel's not monetized. I believe the music belongs to the band, and if the band put up a sign that said no video, I wouldn't take video.
Right.
So, but I believe it's theirs, not mine. So if he wants to put better audio on it, I have no issue with that.
That's cool.
Yep. So, but I think a lot of people watch me because I'll usually upload my videos immediately when I get home. So usually when people wake up the following morning, they'll be sitting there on YouTube.
No doubt.
So.
Oh man, I hope we get to more shows. I hope life resumes at some point.
Well, we need everyone to be safe, and when everybody's safe, we'll do that. Yeah, I'm sure.
So. When is that going to be? Who knows? I'll live.
Well, that's the worst thing about. Well, that's the worst thing about nobody knows anything.
Yeah, the uncertainty.
So it's the unknown that bothers me. I don't know about anybody else.
Right.
So it's the wondering when it's going to end, and when can I get back to work, and when can I get back to shows, and so.
That's right. I got alcohol in the house.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Rumor has it we're having a party here tomorrow. So
who's we?
Just.
No, maybe I don't want to know. On that note.
Yeah.
On that note, I definitely appreciate your time, Sean. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I enjoyed talking to you, and it's been a while that we've been chatting on Facebook. It's nice to actually have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Why don't you tell people if you want where they could find you, follow you, if you want to share your YouTube channel or your Instagram, whatever you want. I'll give you the floor. Yeah, if you get on YouTube, you can just look up Tedeschi Trucks and Sean Roche, SeanRoche. Somebody will pop up and you'll find the channel. I've put in those very words before, I'm fairly certain. Yes, and on Instagram, the Uncle Sean. It's the with underscores in between each word. The Uncle Sean, because I do have 14 nieces and nephews. So, and then Facebook, just search Sean Roche. So cool. Well, thanks again. It's been fun, and look forward to hopefully music. It's more live music soon. Yes. New live music.
and I wish you a lot of luck with this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
You asking me to do it.
Oh, for sure. Talk soon.
All right, be good.
Later. So there you go. My conversation with Sean Roche. That was a lot of fun. I again thank Sean for his time. I feel like I'm going to be wrapping these things up in a similar way for a while. As in, I hope everyone stays well, gets well, and that life resumes back to normal soon and live music becomes a thing again. But for now, check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. And remember to tap subscribe or follow on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to this episode. And I also have another podcast called People We Love Podcast, where I interview people from all walks of life, often comedians and other artists, about their lives and careers. It's casual conversation, and I also ask everyone to highlight someone they love. It's been a lot of fun. That's at People We Love Podcast or peoplewelovepodcast.com. Check that out as well. And again, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And talk soon. Later.